Oh, yeah. Like,
Yeah, it's funny because you mentioned Man of War there, and I was like, oh, I've heard of them. But then I was like, no, I've actually just heard of the term Man of War.
In the world of conspiracies, the supernatural, and the downright spooky, there are only two men who you can trust. Denis Len and Roger O'Sullivan. Or as they prefer to be called, the Unexplained Legends. On December 4th, 1872, a ship was found abandoned off the coast of Portugal. To this day, what happened to its crew remains a mystery. This week on Unexplained Legends, the Mary Celeste.
Chuck me some of those. Chuck them into the river.
Very good.
Yes,
very good.
There we go.
Stick them in the bin.
Go. Welcome, listeners, to this week's episode of the Unexplained Legends. I'm Roger O'Sullivan, and with me, as always, is
Denis Disintegrating Len.
And together we are the Unexplained Legends.
Of course, we're the Unexplained Legends. I went out last night like a big legend, and I'm feeling fresh now. I'm actually not feeling too bad. I will say, woke up earlier today, woke up around the 8 o'clock mark, and just started melting. Like, as in my body, nuclear reactor, I thought it was all over for me. And then I had a little sleep, woke up and was like, oh, thank God that's over.
That explains why I woke up at 8.
Yeah.
And I looked at my phone and it's like, oh, the alarm hasn't gone off, but I'm hearing screaming.
Yes, that was me screaming into a bucket. Yeah.
Okay,
I have a bucket in my room that's called my scream bucket, and I just put that on my head and I just scream into it. So it muffles it. Like, it's not that loud, but it's it just gives me peace on the inside.
It just like reverberates.
How are you feeling this morning?
I'm feeling great.
Yeah, fresh?
Absolutely prime.
Do you think you're feeling fresher because I'm feeling so bad?
That I do thrive off other people's misfortune.
You have a glint in your eye this morning.
Oh my God, man! When you came in here, shoulders slumped.
Yeah.
And frankly, eyes dead.
Yeah. Nothing behind the eyes.
I thought this is going to be a great episode.
Yeah, no, I could feel it. But that's what I do for you as well, though. I go out and get trashed and feel so miserable, so then you can feel so good.
You're my sun lamp.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I provide an energy of hangover, of 10,000 lux to just make you feel better.
I can't remember. You weren't doing dry January or anything, no?
No.
Okay.
You can't get satisfaction from that, from me saying I was doing dry January and then going on the piss all the time.
That would be the funniest thing to gaslight somebody about. Is to say, no, you said you were going to do this marathon. And you never did it.
You never did it.
Yeah. Or you said you were going to do this, this.
I'm pretty sure you could gaslight me about anything today.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see. You said you changed the carbon monoxide alarm.
Yeah, well, I haven't smelled anything, have you?
No.
So we don't need it.
That's true.
Sorry, just to make sure there are people, just please don't take that as anything other than a joke.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people dying.
We have, I have to say as well, before we get into this week's episode, I was going to say that we did a few gigs this week.
Did.
Yeah. We were up in Bristol on Monday.
Hopping around. We hopped around to a couple of different gigs. You were there Monday. I was there Wednesday as well.
Yeah.
But on Wednesday, man, did my gigs. I started out with a new 5 minutes, and I've done probably, 7 or 8 gigs of it or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you get this, but the start, you're kind of thinking, okay, it's exciting. And then in the middle, you're going, have I wasted all my time? I don't think this is working anymore. But then, right at the end in Bristol,
back up.
Bam!
Nice.
All clicked together.
And I believe that you gigged with a certain someone, didn't you?
Who? Who did I gig with?
Didn't you gig with a famous person? No?
No?
Sorry.
No, unless I'm really insulting them.
I thought you gigged with Mark Watson, didn't you?
No. What happened with Mark Watson was I was so close to getting basically bumped off. So Mark Watson, so they kept telling me Mark Watson's going to come in here any minute now. He's going to come in here any minute now. So you might not get a gig. And then I went up and did my gig. Then I went off, and then they were waiting for Mark Watson, and I was like, oh well, it looks like he's not coming. And then I walked outside, and there was a guy on his phone doing a live stream, and I was like, oh, who's that guy? And I just walked past him, and I was like, oh shit, Mark Watson is just going on. But I'd left at that point, and I couldn't come back in.
Okay, so you were on the bill.
I was on the bill. I was on the notepad.
You supported Mark Watson.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
UK tour support in Bristol. I'm going to put that down in my bio.
He won't remember. He won't.
Yeah, he won't.
He's
not going to fact check that.
Do you think he's going to challenge that? No, of course he's not. And then on Monday, of course, I had a little comedian open for me.
You did?
Before one of my gigs. I thought he's on the way up. I thought I'd give him a go. I let this young guy,
It's young whippersnapper.
yeah, Russell Howard, I think.
I think that's the one. I think
Yeah,
that's the
yeah.
one.
I said,
People
here,
might know him.
here, go on there, do a few minutes before me.
How many minutes did you give him?
I gave him 40 minutes in the end.
40 minutes.
Yeah, I gave him 40 minutes in the end, and then I wasn't sweating at all when I went up.
Oh, good. How
Yeah.
did he get on? Did he do well?
Do you know what? Actually, I'll be fair to him now. He did do very well.
Yeah,
it
he
was
did.
as if they knew him
Yeah.
and loved him.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
All right, what are we up to this week?
This week, Dennis, we're doing a very very special topic, right?
Yeah.
We're doing a very special topic, but I have to say, I'm a bit disappointed that this is the topic I'm doing when you're in this kind of mood,
Why?
because I'd consider this like a gentle topic.
Oh, what? You want something a little bit more gruesome for me, like to psychologically torture me?
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be gruesome, but it just has to ask some serious existential questions.
You do realise how badly I actually genuinely go insane from existential stuff.
Yeah,
But shouldn't you be happy now that you're dealing me out a nice little gentle warm blanket?
I feel like we're 40-something episodes in.
Yeah.
I've given you enough warm blankets now.
I don't know, man. A lot of those had nettles in them.
No,
and hedgehogs and stuff.
I want polio.
You know what? You bring up that reference a good number of times.
It's not even right. It's smallpox.
I'd say 3 times.
Yeah. It's meant to be smallpox.
meant to be.
Meant to be smallpox in the blankets.
Oh, we've been doing it all wrong.
But this one, Dennis, right, is really, I have to say, a tentpole mystery.
Okay.
Really tentpole mystery. It's been a mystery for a few hundred years now. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like one of the OG unexplained mysteries. I'll just say the name to you and I'll see if it triggers anything in your head.
Bit of pressure here, but yes.
The Mary Celeste.
Mary Celeste? Okay, right. Okay, I've heard about that. I've heard about Mary Celeste. There's
Yeah.
a game called Celeste.
Yeah, nothing to do with that.
Nothing to do with that.
No.
I've definitely heard Mary before. Mary and Celeste together. It sounds familiar, but I'm just going to be honest. Is it just because you mentioned that name maybe a week ago?
So you've never heard of the Mary Celeste?
Is it a ship?
Yes.
Okay, thank God. A ghost ship.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, so the Mary Celeste is one of the original stories of like a ghost ship type thing. And if there were podcasts around in the 1800s, this would have been like a mini-series.
This would have been their JFK.
They would have gone mental for it. People will get into it in the episode, but this is probably one of the more on the more terrestrial side of
Okay.
of mysteries. It's a real head scratcher. This one.
Because I'm imagining, the classic kind of Scooby-Doo ship appears out of nowhere and there's a clearly ghost pirate man who is dead and he's kind of blue, if you get what I mean.
No, I know what you're talking about. It's just, I think this one will really have you going away with some questions, and they'll be terrestrial questions.
Okay.
I think that you'll seriously be coming away and going, what did happen? What did happen?
But aren't we meant to provide answers to those questions?
I'll provide some answers.
Okay.
But you might still have questions. Yeah? I'm not going to give you everything, man. So, on the back of that, let's crack on with the lamestream narrative. On December 4th, 1872, the Canadian brigantine De Grazia spied a strange sight, a seemingly unmanned ship floating between the Azores and the coast of Portugal. The captain of the De Grazia, Captain David Morehouse, thought the vessel must surely be in some kind of distress, and thus sent a small boarding party to investigate. Upon their approach, they heard nothing bar the creaking of the hull and the ominous slosh of the tide as it ebbed against the silent ship. They saw no activity on the deck and received no answer upon calling out to the absent crew. After mooring to the vessel, they finally saw the name of the ship engraved on the hull, a name which would go on to live in infamy. The Mary Celeste.
Oh, it is the Mary Celeste. I was wondering, I was like, is it the Titanic? Oh, no.
The other one.
So these boys spotted a ship.
Yeah.
And they thought it was in distress. And then they went up to the Mary Celeste and there doesn't seem to be anyone on board.
No one on board. Ship completely just dead.
But they can knock on the side of the hull like it's a real ship. It's not like a ghost ship.
This is a 100% real ship.
Okay.
This is
is this a ship that has actually existed? Like, as in, is there records of this ship?
Yeah.
Other than these eyewitness accounts, because you said you said as if there probably isn't.
No, 100%.
Okay.
This is you're for the first time ever. You're going way too ghosty.
All right. Okay. So this ship has existed, and like that's not in dispute.
No.
Okay.
There's no dispute about that.
Okay.
The Mary Celeste had an interesting history. It had originally been named the Amazon in a past life. However, this proved to be an unlucky moniker. As while sailing under this name, the ship's original owner died of a mysterious illness. And its later captain would see the ship ran aground during a fierce storm, something which would render the ship a virtual wreck. After some years of being left derelict, it was bought by a new owner and renovated. Eventually, the ship would end up under the command of one Benjamin S. Briggs. Now christened the Mary Celeste, Captain Briggs set sail from New York, along with his wife Sarah, infant daughter Sophie, and a crew of 8 men.
Wait, just a couple of things there. One of the captains died of a mysterious illness. Was it?
Mysterious
in the
illness.
1800s, right? Which I'm sure nearly every illness was a mysterious illness.
This one was particularly mysterious.
Yeah,
they didn't have a clue.
That seems like a big coincidence. Like, as in,
I agree with you. It seems too much of a coincidence for it not to be connected to the ship.
Yeah, it must be connected to ghosts or something. And the second one then is that the ship crashed.
Yes.
Would a lot of ships crash?
Underground. I think that was probably one of maybe 2 that year.
Well, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. It's only 2 a year, and that was one of them.
Yeah. It's not a common thing. Because if you think about it this way, ships are designed to not run aground.
That is true. I can't argue with that.
Yeah, so how shocking. It's not
like they got wheels underneath them.
No.
What's the story then with the size of the ship? What would you compare it to? Because there's 8 crew and there's 3 people are currently sailing on it. Because I'm imagining huge, like, fucking cannons out the side ship, but I think that's too big.
It's not cannons out the side, but it's a brigantine.
Yeah,
it's a brigantine.
It's a brigantine. Yeah,
it's a brigantine. Yeah.
Would you know your ships? You would.
Oh yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Oh, would you not?
No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't be familiar with brigantine.
Okay.
Is that like a young ship?
No, it's not.
Really, kind of moody.
I would say it's like. Do you know? Have you played? What's that pirate game? The Sea of Thieves. Have you played?
Sea of Thieves? I have played Sea of Thieves. Yeah.
Okay, Sea of Thieves. It's not the first ship you get; it's the second ship you get, maybe.
Okay, so quite big.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, big. This will give you an idea of how big it is. When it set sail, it had a cargo of 1,701 barrels of alcohol on board the boat.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah.
What were they selling that, or were they just drinking it?
No, it was. That's how many they need for
depends how long they're sailing.
Crossing the Atlantic. They were planning to deliver that to cross the Atlantic and deliver that to Europe. I think they were meant to go dock in Portugal, I think.
Okay, and they were going to make a lot of cash.
I think that they were already being paid for the charter.
Oh, okay, right. So they're just delivery men.
Pretty much.
Okay,
most ships are kind of like delivery men, I think. Yeah.
Oh, right, grand. So it's not your own stuff.
No,
but you couldn't have an old sup off the barrels, like, as you're going across.
No. You'd be drinking your profits.
There's definitely lads having a couple of sups and then putting in salt water into them, probably.
Do you think so? Yeah.
You probably never did that, did you? Did you ever steal a drink out of out of your parents' cabinet?
My parents don't drink, so there's none around.
So you never obviously then filled it with water and stuff.
No, what I'd do is I'd take some of the methylated spirits and then I'd fill that back up with water.
A friend of mine at a house party before, John is his name, won't mention his second name. He's a happily married man now. At a house party, he was upstairs and he was looking for a drink. He was out of his mind. Like, the mother of that house was like an artist, so she just had methylated spirits everywhere. And we go up and he's there. He's going, "Oh, I've vodka," and he takes a shot of fucking methylated spirits.
How was he after it?
He was absolutely ruined. Sure, he's probably disintegrating on the inside. Like
I remember
he was out for a week because it wasn't like a hangover. He had destroyed himself.
when we first interacted with methylated spirits in science class. I remember the teacher distinctly telling us, and you know what? A lot of homeless people will drink this.
Yeah.
Because it's really good for getting you drunk. I swear to God, they said that.
He was out of his mind. That's probably not the best thing to be advertising to students, I assume.
No, that's what I was thinking as well. I was like,
You could have a real cheap night out of this.
Well,
also, I don't know why I had methylated spirits in my house.
yeah.
It's such odd things inside. Like, do you have Brasso in your house?
Yeah, of course. For all the brass. Yeah.
I didn't. There was no brass in my house.
Dennis, how are we going to clean the brass without Brasso?
There's no brass.
Yeah, you an idiot.
Wait, I can't think of a single thing that in my house that had brass in it.
Our house is mostly brass, I'd say. It was largely brass based. I
It's
know
a heavy house.
I do know a bunch of lads who did like a round of shots of methylated spirits
Oof.
on the way out.
Well, we just have to advise our listeners on the way out, like when they're on the way to dying after drinking it.
Yeah, on the way to go out for the night.
That's absolutely insane.
But by their reckoning, class night.
Yeah, but you could probably go blind or something from it. Like there's probably it can probably fuck you up real bad.
Here, as they would have said, how bad?
How bad?
How bad?
We had a good night, didn't we?
Yeah. Listen, I wouldn't have gotten off with her if I wasn't blind. So, great night. You were going to say to our listeners, don't drink methylated spirits.
Yeah, we have some real bad ones. The carbon monoxide alarm, make sure that's checked. You can't smell it. That's the whole point. The methylated spirits, don't drink that. I think there was another one, but I can't really remember.
Don't put smallpox or polio into blankets.
Yes, don't do that. And if you are doing it, it is smallpox you're meant to do it.
Yeah.
But don't do it.
But don't do it. Don't do it either way. So they have the ship is loaded, Dennis, right, with 1,701 barrels of alcohol, and they're in to be sailing it over to Europe by way of Portugal. But here the ship is floating eerily, abandoned to all but the boarding party of the Di Grazia. Upon boarding the vessel, the boarding party from the Di Grazia were greeted with only more questions. Nowhere on board was there any sign of life, nor a good indication as to what had happened to the erstwhile crew. It was as if they had vanished out of thin air. Is that the way you say that?
Vanished out of thin air.
Or is it vanished
into thin air?
Into thin air.
I don't know. Now that we've questioned it, I'll just never use it again.
It was as if they'd vanished in air. The first guess of the Di Grazia was that the ship had suffered some kind of damage which had prompted the original crew to flee, but there didn't appear to be any sign that that was the case. There was some water in the hull, but nothing to cause much concern. One lifeboat was missing, but the ship still contained 6 months of supplies, which struck the boarding party as odd. Similarly, when the men from the Di Grazia searched the hull, they were shocked to find that not only was the crew gone, but all of the cargo listed on the manifest remained intact.
So why is that peculiar? Just that they didn't take anything with them, or that cargo didn't get damaged?
So they left, or a lifeboat is gone, and they didn't try to take any of the cargo, and they didn't take any meaningful supplies, because there's 6 months left of the
But this
supplies.
sounds like an open shut case, like, as in if they got into choppy waters, they're hardly going like, here, do you bring the beans? And it's like, I'll head down there and get the beans. Like, when we're imagining this, it's kind of like they've got enough time to do it, and why would they be so crazy when they're getting into a lifeboat to not take the food? But if they're just trying to survive, then they might have just had to get in there. Like,
No, you see, here's a bit of context for you. Right, bit of context. One, they couldn't have fit the whole crew into one lifeboat.
okay,
Right? Two, if you were fleeing in the lifeboat, it would only be because you thought that the ship was going down.
yeah.
And in that case, you would take supplies.
All right, okay. So you're saying that they must have thought that the ship was going down, but there's no signs that the ship was going down.
There's no signs, and also there's no signs that there's question marks as to like what were they doing taking the lifeboat, because they would have taken some supplies.
Is there a chance it fell off?
What do you mean? The lifeboat?
The lifeboat just fell off.
Possibly, yeah. You were saying they didn't use the lifeboat.
I don't know. I'm just asking questions here, man. Have you ever wanted to be a pirate?
To be honest, no.
I don't know anyone who's ever wanted to become a pirate. But pirates are like big business. Like we've heard about pirates in our childhood forever and ever. But I just think the thought of actually being a pirate is just horrific.
I always thought that the thing about pirates is, they're very defined in their modus operandi. It felt like just it would be very run of the mill as a job.
It'd be a bit boring, like
like
kind of the 9 to 5 of the 1800s.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I get it. We go here, we pillage. Yeah, we bury it.
We get scurvy.
Yeah, X. You put an X on a map. Like, simple, cool.
Digging up treasure and stuff. I guess it would be kind of backbreaking. Probably would be monotonous looking for treasure.
It's just the same thing over and over again, And obviously, you know how I feel about parrots.
Yeah.
Like, I still think parrots should be held accountable for what the pirates did. Like,
there's no parrot that you've encountered that you've liked.
No, because they didn't say anything. They didn't say anything. They were watching the pirates do all that shit, and they didn't say a fucking thing about it.
There was a parrot that lived in the pet shop, and he was an African grey parrot, and he was so old. They live.
How old was he?
100. He was so old, but he was so unnerving when you come into the pet shop. I think people like parrots, because they talk. I don't like parrots because they talk.
Oh, you don't like that they can...
Why the fuck is that? Why is that comforting? When there's a huge bird just looking at you going like, hey, cunt! And you're just like, oh, hello.
Well, it's even scarier than that, because they're not talking, obviously. They're just mimicking you. So imagine this. Imagine an ape, right? Or an ape-like creature.
Yeah.
They could just mimic you. But it was just mimicking you because evolutionarily, within its head, it had some kind of benefit to mimic and attract you. That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, so are you saying that the parrot wanted something from me?
That's why they do it.
Just to get stuff.
Yeah, like that's what they're doing. They're trying to get...
I never thought about it as that they were tricking us.
Like Polly want a cracker,
Oh, fuck it, he wants a cracker. That's why he's doing it.
Yeah, like he's not doing that for the good of his health, is he? Is he asking how you are? No.
I just thought it was a popular thing parrots said.
No, man. I'm telling you, you thought that was the natural call of the parrot, and it just happened to sound like Polly wanting a cracker.
Yeah, like as in, I thought that came first, and then people started giving them crackers. If you understand.
Oh, like they were thinking it was...
Like as in the Polly wants a cracker thing, like you said, that's just a natural thing a parrot says.
What it's actually more unnerving is what happened is one parrot someday must have seen a human like pull off that exchange of a child called Polly probably saying, I would like a cracker.
My name is Polly.
Yeah. And the parrot saw that and thought, I'm going to give this a go. Did it. Right, beyond all imagination that the parrot had, it actually was given a cracker. And then that parrot just started telling all the other parrots.
Yeah, he met up with the other parrots on Friday, and he was just loads of crackers, and he was looking well fed. And they're like, "What's the story with you?" And you're like, "You're not going to believe this.
Listen, I have a new scam.
You're not going to believe this. Give me a tenner. Everyone, give me a tenner."
Parrots. All I'm saying, parrots, very sneaky. And like I said, I never got over their association with pirates. It's not a good look, parrots. Not a good look, guys. As unlucky as the ship had been for Captain Briggs, it proved to be a boon for the crew of the Di Grazia, as they quickly claimed the ship as salvage. Finding an abandoned vessel which was suitable for salvage was rare enough, but for the ship to be completely undamaged and to be filled with such an enormously handsome cargo, still intact.
Were you on the ship?
Woo! I knew that was coming. I actually was going to delete that when I was editing the script.
You should have.
So that was unheard of. Having that kind of cargo left in the ship. In fact, it was so unheard of that during the salvage proceedings, which followed in Gibraltar, the crew of the Di Grazia were accused of foul play. Captain Morehouse vehemently denied this, but a ship with this amount of cargo appearing with a crew completely absent was so surprising that it seemed like the only logical conclusion.
So now they're saying that those guys who discovered the ship, air quotes, actually went on there and potentially killed everyone.
Chucked them all in the sea.
Put them into a lifeboat, said, oh, get into this lifeboat and we'll bring you back.
Kicked it off, yeah.
And then shot a cannon into the side of it.
There's no cannons.
I mean, they might have one.
No, they don't have any. They're brigantines, Dennis.
The other guy might have one.
Dennis, they're both brigantines.
A small cannon.
A small cannon.
A small little
Just
cannon.
a small cannon.
For shooting lifeboats.
Okay, yeah. Just a small
They're not going to
cannon.
advertise it.
No, it may be a flintlock. Maybe they had a flintlock.
Best luck sinking a lifeboat with that.
I'd say if you were clever with it.
All right, maybe they've just got a catapult or something, a trebuchet.
Okay.
Is that better?
I'm willing to take that. A trebuchet?
A trebuchet.
Off the port side?
And
Yeah.
when it launches, it actually launches the boat with it as well.
Captain! What is it, my boy? We're taking on water. We've been smashed to bits. Good God. Quickly, boy. Reassemble the wood. Yes, that's it. And a counterbalance. And a weight. Yes. What is it, Captain? It looks scary. That, my boy, is a trebuchet. And it was down well the most feared weapon in all of medieval France. Now let's see how the seas like it. Fire! That's what the court thought, basically. That's what the court thought happened. However, eventually, through the course of the salvage hearing, it was determined that although there was no satisfactory example for the vanishing of the original crew, there was nothing which suggested that the De Grazia had in any way acted inappropriately with the ship either. As a result, they were eventually granted salvage.
So they could take it.
Yeah, they were allowed to take it and sell it.
Is that a ship rule? So if you come across a ship,
An abandoned ship, yeah. That's still to this day. There's like salvage rules and stuff.
So if we came across a ship, we could just own it. If we were in a little dinghy and we came across like a big, I don't know, fucking huge ship, that we'd be like, this is our ship now.
If it's empty,
yeah.
You and me getting on a cruise liner and going, geez, it's crazy. We found everyone.
As the captain runs back with his pants down, going, no, I was just in the bathroom for a second.
Geez, that's crazy. This is ours now.
And then the police are outside and they're going, this is an open closed case, like these, whatever the hell the phrase is, the open shutty case. And they're like, this it's theirs now. They own this.
There's nothing we can do, you know? And they own it, and they also, bizarrely, own all of the crew and all of the people that were travelling on it as well. What are the chances? Yeah, so there are still salvage laws. There's even stuff like if stuff from a ship washes up on shore, you can take that.
Really?
Yeah.
So all those syringes and stuff on the beach, I can just take them.
Listen, man,
I don't have to inject them there in the beach.
No, work away. Do you remember when I think it was off of Cork?
Oh, all the cocaine.
No, not the cocaine.
Oh.
You can just take that. If you find cocaine, you can just take it, man. That's it. That's in the law.
What are you going to do with it?
Yeah, but no, I'm either thinking of Cork or somewhere in the UK. People were just able to take like bikes. Like Yamaha bikes and stuff, that they all washed up and they could just legally take them because they landed on the sea.
That's bizarre.
That's 100% true.
Imagine that, like a little village, right, with no motorbike experience. And suddenly that's their main mode of transport is a load of like dirt bikes or something just going around the place.
Just because everyone managed to pick up a few scramblers.
Everyone got a bike. Imagine the level of noise that would create in a small little village. It would actually ruin the entire village.
Or just all of them, like, just revving up on the beach that day.
Yeah. But that's their mode of transport now. So everyone, like, young or old, that's how they get around. So there's accidental biker gangs going around because people are just going in the same direction.
They've just formed into biker gangs. And it's not demographically dependent at all. There's some old women in the biker gangs. And they're just riding around, slapping people with their handbags and going, next time I'll smash your window in. You better have my protection money.
And a couple of children, obviously.
Yes.
Long children, tall children.
Have you ever gone to Woody Island?
No, never.
It's off the coast of Bantry. There's like very small population. I think there might only be 10 to 20 people on the island. Went there a few years ago. Just some kids driving around a Toyota Corolla. And when I say kids, I mean he must have been 8.
Phone book under his arse, kind of.
Yeah. He genuinely was propped up on a milk crate. That's not a joke. That is not a joke at all. He's sitting on a milk crate and he's like has stuff tied to the pedals, just driving around.
He's got bricks under his shoes.
Yeah. I thought, fair play.
Sure, who's he going to run into?
Yeah, there's no guard. It's lawless.
Yeah.
Woody Island is lawless.
Besides the... how scary would that be, though, right? You're living on the island. It's great. Like, let's say there's like 10 people there.
Yeah.
And then just a couple of new lads move onto the island. And like, they're just there. Like, how are you meant to get rid of them? You can't get rid of them.
No, it is a bit odd. People have there's a bar on Whiddy Island, lovely bar, and people go over there and have their wedding drinks over on the island, and then come back over to go to the hotel.
That's quite cool. We're going on a stag, and we're going to go to Inishore, I think.
Really?
For the day.
Will you do me a favour?
Yeah.
Will you keep an eye out for some salvage?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I heard there's some really good dirt bikes around there.
If you see there's any dirt bikes, or do you know what? Even if you see, even if you see a ship, that looks half unintended, maybe swim out to it.
Yeah, no, I will.
On it.
I think it would be such a good day for us as well in the stag if a load of cocaine just came into the beach and a load of dirt bikes.
I'd say maybe good day for you, very bad day for the podcast.
No, not a great day for a podcast.
Very bad day for the podcast. You coming in the next day, absolutely exhausted. I'm like, Dennis,
on a dirt bike.
Are you sure you're going to be able to focus today?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. The snorting off the throttle of the bike.
Jeez, that's very sexual.
So we're on to the final stretch of the Mary Celeste now, Dennis. However, despite the De Grazia being granted salvage, the tale of the Mary Celeste would go on to haunt sailors across the globe for the next 100 years. With no clear answer as to what had happened to the crew, or why the ghost ship was left floating alone off the coast of Portugal, people could only speculate. Some say it was cursed. Others say Benjamin Briggs went mad. Some even question if something below the waves was indeed responsible. We may never know. As to this very day, the truth of what happened aboard the Mary Celeste remains unexplained.
It is very spooky.
Yeah.
And you definitely do start asking a lot of questions about what's going on. And it's incredibly infuriating that we probably won't be able to get those answers unless you have a couple served up there for us.
Well, I have some theories here for you. I have 7 theories.
Wow.
The 7 theories. What kind of order? Do you want them in least to most?
Believable.
No, not. I was going to say outlandish.
Outlandish, okay, great.
But is there a term for outlandish that doesn't imply it's made up?
Probably not.
Because I could do with that word. I'm telling you.
Outrageous, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Do you want like?
Give me a normal one and then an outrageous one, and then you can go on any order you want after that.
Okay. So a normal one. Basic normal one. They thought the ship was sinking. The crew of the Mary Celeste believed for some reason it was sinking, and they decided we'll get into the lifeboat and we'll ship off.
All right. Well, that sounds pretty straightforward. That must be it then.
Well, no, because even if that was the case, what's still like creepy is where did they go?
Yeah, I do find it horrifying as well, the fact that like there's a little kid on this ship, and they get into a lifeboat, let's say that's what happened, and then they just all died out at sea, which is pretty horrific, but still it doesn't explain why they didn't take any food with them though.
Well, what if, here's just something I've just come up with now, what if while on the lifeboat the sailors decide that they're going to eat each other to survive? After a couple of days, they just say we're gonna start eating. I think actually it was like almost immediately after kicking off from the ship. And we're like, okay, who's up first?
I'm fucking starving.
Yeah, Jesus, we should have brought some supplies.
Well, since you're all such a big bunch of big ration babies, I'll just be in charge of the rationing. Observe, boy. The secret is to take tiny bites, like so.
The question mark around this and why that itself is not, the open shut case, the open closed case as you said earlier. The reason why that's so dubious is that, like I said, it's questionable as to whether the lifeboat could have held all the members of the crew. Now, there's potential maybe that they've lost some of the crew along the way or something.
Where's he gone?
They, like you said, big ship. No, they've fallen overboard or something like that.
Well, some people could have died along the way, I assume. But I guess they would have recorded that, though, wouldn't they? It'd definitely be something you'd jot down. Oh, Tim's dead.
It's the sort of thing that I'd say you might go, I better jot that down. But at the same time, I'll definitely remember it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So there's almost no need to jot it down.
Yeah, why would I write that down? I'm not going to forget he died.
And plus, when they get to the other side, it's going to be fairly obvious that you know, Tim isn't there.
1, 2, 3. Oh, Tim.
And like when his family and stuff are there, we're like, shit, there was something I was meant to write down.
Oh, I forgot. Send a letter there.
I forgot Tim's
Tim's
like,
dead.
You're just at the ship and they're at the dock and you're just like, oh my God, did you send that letter to Tim's family? You're
Oh,
like,
God.
Oh, I didn't. Well, we do. Just pretend he's in the bathroom or something.
Oh, sorry.
Just let me get off the ship. I can't handle this.
Yeah, listen, why didn't you have a look there? Why didn't you have a look there in the lifeboat?
Tim, are you in there, Tim?
Oh, no, he's gone. I'd say he left.
Yeah.
He actually went off halfway along.
I forgot to tell you, actually, yeah, he went away in his own boat.
Did he not come home? Now, that raises questions as to why did they think the ship was sinking? There's something in a ship. I didn't know this. I didn't note down the term for it, but there's something in one of these big brigantine or medium-sized brigantine ships where it's like essentially a piece of apparatus, this like hole that goes through the boat.
Yeah.
Sounds like it would be a bad idea.
Yeah.
But they actually
sounds kind of leaky.
Yeah, but they use that to test how much water the ship has taken on board, because a ship can take on a certain amount of water and for it to be absolutely fine. Obviously, there are limits to that, Titanic, etc. You know,
one of the most famous ones.
Yeah, at a certain stage, it becomes untenable to have that amount of water in the ship. But when the crew came on board, they found that this apparatus had been taken out, and that they had. You can basically take out this big stick from it, and instead you can like put down a bucket and test that way. And they said that had been taken out, and that this kind of makeshift one had been set up. So potentially, maybe either they'd convinced themselves that they were sinking.
Well, yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe they just got into a storm and they like started freaking out. They were like, "There's no way that this ship can't be sinking."
Yeah,
and then there was just no. Let's say the crew are like veterans or whatever, but then the family or whatever, like, this is sinking, we got to get off. Or maybe the crew set them up. And then they were like, oh yeah, you got to get off, get into the lifeboat, and then kick them away.
Yeah.
But then we've got 8 guys that are still unaccounted for.
Well, that's the other thing. So you said give one like fairly believable one, and give one that's like more surprising, let's say, you know, more interesting, I would consider it. Other one, a giant squid.
Classic.
A giant squid.
A giant squid who's fairly nimble, I'd say.
Giant squid.
Causes no damage to the ship.
No.
Picks them all out, eats them.
He knew what he wanted.
Yeah.
To him, it was as easy as opening a pistachio. He was just popping in and, let's, here we go.
Nom, nom.
Taking each one of them like he was having a revel, and just eating all the individuals.
He missed his dessert and his aperitifs, though. He could have had a couple of drinks for himself and everything.
Well, there's some theory as to whether he might have taken one of those, and that's why there was no evidence of him, because he himself had just
destroyed under the sea.
Yeah. Do you know what? Actually, that's it. Is he was just trying to get to the cargo,
and he was like hitting them out of the way because they were trying to protect the beer, because obviously that's what they need.
Yeah.
I'd love that if there was a drunken squid inside in the sea. That would actually be more annoying than a squid that was just coming to eat you.
That was the original version of What Will We Do with the Drunken Sailor, but they changed it because people obviously weren't ready for that.
What will we do with the drunken squid? What will we do with the drunken squid? What will we do with the drunken squid? Squid.
I'd like that there's in some scenarios there's a guy down guarding the beer, and then like a little squid tendril comes in, but it's got a hat on.
It's more than that. I think it has a wig and it's put like makeup on, and it's going and it's trying to like tease the guy out.
While the other tendrils are over getting all the alcohol.
Yeah. And then he's like, oh, and as he goes to meet that tendril, right? As he goes to meet that one, either way it's a sucker, but as he's going to meet it, it ducks behind the corner. So he's like, hey, where did it go? One of the tentacles taps him on the left shoulder. He turns to see it. There's nothing there. And he turns back, gets punched by the
haymaker.
Yeah, tentacle on the other side. I think we've solved it.
If that's not a theory, man.
Yeah, so giant squid. How are you feeling about giant squid?
Feeling good about giant squid. Just unfortunate that the chips are not damaged. So I think that's probably going to rule it out. Unless, like I said, he's a real nimble guy and he can get on with secret disguises and wigs, which I'm sure some people probably won't buy that. I can understand why they wouldn't. But
Yeah.
I did love, though, that when they were looking about giant squids before and they were like saying, oh, you know, was this just all made up by like pirates and stuff? But then they actually discovered like some pretty massive squids.
Oh, they're real, man, yeah. I'm telling you. Keep an eye out for them.
That stuff scares the living shit out of me, actually, the stuff under the water.
Really?
Like things that exist under the water.
I've got a few good ones of those coming up this year. That's all I'm going to say about those. The next one, Dennis, right? You didn't like squids enough. The next one, they went mad at sea. So the captain went mad at sea and forced everyone off the ship.
Okay. Well, how would he be able to do that without a mutiny happening?
What do you mean?
There was 8 lads there, like,
Yeah.
so how was, like, if it was me and I was one of those 8 lads and the captain said, here, jump into the sea, I'd be like, here, lads, we should probably team up and maybe beat the shit out of this guy. It would be like they'd be very, very good workers if they just jumped into the sea.
I think he picked very submissive workers.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he had, like I mentioned earlier, maybe he had a flintlock.
True. Yeah, true. But there is just that awkward thing of, you know, you are going to die when you get into the sea, so you may as well give it a go, you know?
Okay.
All right, you know what he did? He said, you know what we're going to do? We're going to make this lad walk the plank. And
Okay.
then they were like, okay, well, it's not me. And then he goes, all right, we're going to make one more person walk the plank.
And just keeps going.
And he just did that until he got to the end.
And the last guy says that when they came for Tim, I said nothing because I secretly always thought Tim was annoying. And then he just gets walked off the plank himself.
Yeah, no, he's dead.
Okay, I should say, I didn't say all of these were true. I just said that probably some of them are true.
Well, yeah, I mean, that is inevitable that
Yeah.
some of them have to be true, I assume.
So you can say,
Unless we're really missing it.
what do you mean?
Like, if any of these theories aren't the reason. Do you think that one of these theories does answer the mystery?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. And I can tell you which it is, which I think
Okay.
holds more stock for me at the end.
Okay.
So they went mad at sea. You think that's not much of a...
I just think that the crew would probably mutiny.
Okay.
And they'd probably murder the guy. Unless, of course, he was crafty, like I said. Or you know, he got them to go into the lifeboat. He said, have a look around the back of the ship there, lads. And then fucked off. Like, I think it could happen, but he'd have to be crafty about it.
Okay. Well, here's the next theory now, Dennis. This theory I really like, to be honest. Pirates,
Okay.
right? Pirates came. I love this theory. Pirates came. Pirates boarded the ship. Got all the original crew, put them on a lifeboat and said, get off, right?
Yeah.
That boat sails off. Or else, alternatively, preemptively, as the pirates were boarding, the original crew, I nearly said cast and crew, the original crew went on the lifeboat to get away from the pirates. While the pirates were on the ship, they were attacked by a giant squid.
Okay.
Yeah.
The crafty giant squid again, I assume, because there is no damage to the ship.
Yeah. Or alternatively, what happened, I think this is quite tragic, is that they forced the original crew off the ship. When they boarded. So that original crew is just floating away. And that explains why they didn't have any supplies with them, because they're being forced onto it by pirates. The pirates themselves, they believed the ship was sinking, so they left the ship.
And didn't take anything.
Yeah.
I have a pretty mundane theory and a great theory.
Okay.
So one of
go
them
on.
is a movie called Squiddy,
Right.
where the guy is secretly feeding a giant squid, the captain, or maybe one of the crew, I think. One of the crew is secretly feeding a giant squid because he thinks he's misunderstood. And then when the pirates come on and they're forced into a lifeboat, Squiddy comes up and attacks them and like kills all the pirates. But then he can't locate the lifeboat and he can't bring them back on. Right, so it's kind of a sad movie.
Yeah.
The other one is pretty mundane, is that the pirates come on, they force them off, which would explain why they got onto the lifeboat, which I like. But their ship at the time isn't big enough or something for the cargo. So they go, oh, look, we'll come back, but they weren't able to locate it again.
Okay, we're nearly there now, Dennis. Next theory, this one's fairly obvious to me. It was a cursed ship. You heard about its previous life. when it was christened the
We
Amazon.
probably didn't give enough weight to that, to the curse. That
It
this
was
was
cursed?
just inevitable. It's kind of like the buckaroo of ships.
Yeah, it's going to knock you off at some stage.
Yeah, eventually you will be thrown into the sea.
Yeah.
So I know we already touched on this, but so they went in and they salvaged the ship, right?
Yeah.
But did it start going again after that? Under a different name called like the Definitely Nothing Wrong ship.
I think it did, and
Yeah.
I think more bad stuff happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That really
proves your point there,
Jesus,
doesn't it?
That really,
Yeah.
that really. Fuck! I can't believe that supported my theory so well.
That was really, really succinct as well. That you just had it right there in your pocket.
Yeah. Second to last theory, it was the De Grazia crew.
But there was no sign of anyone like being murdered or anything on it, I assume.
No.
And like the court, they come in, but I assume they would have so much time to clean up. And the ship is probably dirty anyway. Do you know, it's
That's true.
You know, it's like there's probably is blood all over
Well,
it anyway.
that blood was always there.
Oh, that's part of the ship.
Silhouettes of a whole family in blood across the wall, and he goes, "That was always there."
They killed us, written in blood.
Yeah, sure, that was there. Sure, that was there when we found it. Final theory. I think this is the final theory. Yeah. Final theory now is just ghosts.
Just ghosts rambling around.
Ghosts. Yeah.
You see, this is what we were talking about for Ghosts on a Plane and a couple of these other ones. I think it was actually previous to that we were talking about it. But that ghosts out on the sea, like they have to get on the ship at some point, don't they?
Yeah.
So you're saying that the ghosts were lying in wait?
I think their ghost ship went through this ghost ship.
Okay.
And all the ghosts hopped on board.
Like kind of Pac-Man type deal. Like they're all just coming on.
And they spooked them off. Actually, do you know what? I've come up with another theory now. What if they were abducted by aliens?
Oh, there you go.
Abducted by aliens in the sea. That's scary.
That is scary, but I think that's really jumping off a cliff. How about this, right? How about if it's not actually ghosts, but they thought it was haunted? Because this is the other thing as well, right? They bought that ship. I assume they knew the history of it. Did it already have a bit of a spooky vibe to it?
No, you see, because it's been rechristened and stuff.
Okay.
So it's like the equivalent of selling a murder house, but you've renamed it.
To like Happy, this is Great House.
Yeah.
Don't look under the shed.
Yeah.
House. But okay, so this doesn't have a spooky aspect to it. So okay, that doesn't. Then my theory won't wash. Where I was thinking that like they can, if you live in a haunted house,
they convinced themselves.
So we got a great deal in this haunted house.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's fine. No, you wouldn't get a wink of sleep.
No,
sleep,
that's true.
Ever.
That's true.
Because like you sometimes think, oh, what's that noise in the house?
Yeah.
If you live in a haunted house, you're like, well, this could be it.
Final extra theory I just came up with. What if it was a game of hide and seek that got out of hand?
Yeah.
Got really out of hand.
And where did most of the people hide? In the sea,
man.
In the sea.
Sea. Bad move.
The bottom of the sea.
So, just as we're wrapping up, Dennis, which one of those theories speaks to you most, do you think?
For me, right, the theories aren't too important today.
Okay.
It's the fact that it's terrifying me that, let's say it's the simple one, and they got into the lifeboat, and they just wandered out. The reality of that is horrific.
Yeah.
10 people inside a lifeboat. I assume they probably killed a couple to start with, or maybe some stayed on the ship. So they must have been really freaked out to get on that lifeboat to basically go to their deaths.
Well, I think that's why it's so enduring, why it was genuinely so enduring for sailors at the time. Because it's just like, nobody knows what happened to it. Whatever happened, maybe that could happen to us. And maybe we'll all just be... Someday we'll just be sailing along, and for whatever reason, giant squid, ghost ship, aliens, whatever reason, we'll just have to get off this ship, and no one will ever know what happened to us.
And you know what? Right after this episode, I'm going to hang around the docks and just see if I can get myself a ship.
Just get...
Even more so than I usually hang around the docks.
Get some salvage.
Yeah, see if we can hop in.
Do you know, like that old saying goes, there's always something for you down by the docks.
There is. Just wait for someone to go to work and then just get into their boat.
Something for everybody. Yeah. This is salvage, man.
What's the theory that you believe most in?
The pirates.
The pirates.
Yeah, because I think, especially with your edition, even though I do like the giant squid thing.
Yeah. So, but you're saying the pirates forced them off, but the squid isn't involved.
It might be.
It might be. Well, I mean, it could be. Yeah,
it could be in cahoots.
Yeah. You think they're working together?
Yeah.
And
he turned on them.
He turned on them. What did he get out of it?
What did he get out of it? Infamy.
Good old Squiddy. All right, I think that's all from us this week. I've been Denis Lynn. That man over there is
Roger O'Sullivan.
You can find me at Denis Lynn 3D, Instagram and all that. The links are under the episode, and you can find that man
at Roger O'Comedy.
And please give us reviews on Apple, wherever you listen to your Apple stuff.
Oh, and thank you everyone for the 5-star reviews. We've had about 4 or 5 5-star reviews this week on Spotify.
Beautiful.
Alone.
Thanks boys and girls. You can just click it. It's so easy.
Yeah.
If you haven't done it already and you're listening to it, you should do it. It'll make us feel really good.
And please tell your friends about it. Share it with everyone. Honestly, lads, this is the year. This has to be the year.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot riding on this for us. No pressure or anything, but please, you must support us.
This needs to be a big year.
All right. Thanks very much for listening. We'll chat to you soon.
Love you. Bye. Oh, yeah.